Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this conversation. We are very lucky to be just the two of us having this conversation this morning. Now, today's conversation is around local hospitality brands, and we are talking about remote, resilient, and profitable, how these kind of models can be self-sustaining. As we start this conversation, I want to put our conversation in context. This conversation we are having today sits at the intersection of an industry that is shifting, an industry that is becoming more and more value-based. And when I talk about value today and hospitality, I am thinking about three things. I'm thinking about place. Where to locate and where to invest is no longer capital-driven. It's not about what you have and your ability to invest where you want, because things have changed. There is climate change, there is community interests, there is ownership issues, there is access issues. So where and place to invest has become a key decision-making item in hospitality. The second thing in this intersection or crossroads of hospitality is purpose. Why to invest today is not exclusively about profitability. It is not about how much we'll make from here, but it's more about what are we also going to contribute to the places where we invest in. So purpose has shifted from meeting the interests of shareholders to addressing the interests of society as well. Then we have impact. The outcome of investment today is what we call shared prosperity. Every investment must think about shared prosperity. So as we talk about hospitality today, my guests will be addressing some of these things in their responses. So these three things that I've talked about are shaping and have been shaping the hospitality sector in Africa in the last 2 decades. And what this means is they are able, or we are able today, to distinguish between reactive and strategic resilience. We see a lot of reactive resilience in many hospitality brands today because it was not inbuilt as part of the DNA. We've just been talking DNA of the model. Another thing that I want to also mention as we start, and it's a fact and it's a hard truth, is that Africa's hospitality story has been written from the outside. It's a reality that we're living with, and it has been mentioned here for those who have been in this stage before. So we have a lot of global brands, we have a lot of imported models, we have a lot of imported luxury, we have a lot of imported standards, and we have immense imported capital that has helped the industry to grow, right? And then, therefore, it has often been assumed that resilience could be designed in after, provided we have all these other things. We can build it in later. So for that reason, and many other reasons, Africa's hotel brand has been, or investing in Africa's hospitality has been described as high risk. I don't know whether there's anybody from the IFC here, but if you read a lot of IFC documentation, because IFC is an investor, it's a financier of hotel investment in Africa. And most of their documents, the restrictions that they put in there, describe the continent as high risk. And this tag has been carried along with the hospitality industry for decades. But yet we have brands like the Serena that have been here for 50 years plus. You're celebrating 53 years?
53 years.
Round of applause for the African brand Serena for 53 years of resilience. So help me to welcome my conversationist, Mr. Ashish Sharma, the Chief Executive Officer of Serena Hotel, a seasoned hospitality professional with more than 20 years in strategic roles with the Serena Group, has worked in 3 continents, was born in Kenya, raised in Tanzania, but has returned home in the last 3 years to become a foot soldier again with the Serena Hotels, now as its CEO. So I will open this reflective and forward-looking conversation with this question to Ashish. When you look back over the last, I'm just talking about 20 years, but we're looking at you are 53 years old this year. When you look back just in the last 2 decades of building a leading hotel brand, before even the term resilience made its way into the boardroom, what did resilience actually look like in practice for the Serena Group? And how is that different from what resilient needs to look like in the future?
Thank you, Judy, and thank you for having me here today to share with you our thoughts and our growth. Our journey as Serena Hotels in East Africa started more than 50 years ago. And then at that time, the principal shareholder, Aga Khan Fund for Economic Development, was working with the Kenyan government to look at how to bring more foreign currency. And to bring more foreign currency, the thought was, let's create a circuit so when the foreigners and the guests come from overseas, they stay for more than 7-10 days, allowed to spend more money here. So that was how it happened. But Serena has been very fortunate to have a full backing of the principal of the Aga Khan Fund for Economic Development, or ACFED, who also invited international development financial institutions like IFC, CDC, and then later on Propaco, DEG, and Norfund to participate in investment that we were making in this part of the world. The philosophy from day one, also with input from World Bank and IFC at that time, working with us together with the principals, was to invest by taking first into consideration how do we respect the environment. This happened more than 50 years ago. How to embed the culture and heritage so when our guests come from overseas, they enjoy the richness of what we are doing here. What kind of conservation approach we would be taking? So biodiversity, sanitation, water conservation, energy. These were the conversations that were happening then. We didn't have solar plants or anything at that time. And other important thing was, it should not just be Kenya. We should look at regional integration so we could work as a region. Today I'm happy to say that we operate in DRC, Congo, in Rwanda, in Uganda, in Kenya, Tanzania, Zanzibar, and Mozambique. So we are in all these countries that we operate from a regional point of view. But our success for resilience was mostly based on long-term vision to make sure that we remain sustainable. And the model was from day one was that within 3 to 5 years, you should become profitable and sustainable, but with the backing of a very solid shareholder who looked after us at the time. The most important thing when we were talking about culture, heritage at the time, all our designs, if you look at our lodges, our city hotels, everywhere there was a insistence by the shareholders that you must embed in the design the local culture, heritage, and its rich history. Mm-hmm. So if you go to, for example, even Nairobi Serena here, when you go to each different floor, you will see it's like a walking museum with art and collection from all over Africa in a glass cabinet, so you can enjoy those things. So our goal was always to tell the story of where our destination was. Now, if we look at our objective then was, we were coming as a development institution to be as a catalyst for development for many aspirants who wanted to be in the hospitality sector, to raise the bar, to raise the standard in terms of brand standards and services to be offered to our customers. Over the last 50 years, we're looking at, and 20 years, we've been tested. 9/11, which was brutal for us, for all of us in terms of traveling. Then worse came the COVID-19. Mm-hmm. Now, we've seen many other operators send people home or on a partial contracts, everything. We didn't send anybody home. We maintained our 4,000 strong associates. Everybody stayed with the company. Nobody was sent home. Yes, there was some reduction in compensation and everything, but we managed to retain all our associates. Nobody left the company during that period, and we were 4,000 strong. So that tells about the resilience that we had built in over time. no matter what happens, the fundamentals don't change. You have to evolve with the customer taste, technology, ease of doing business, and continue to develop over long term, keeping an eye on the sustainability side.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, it is often said that global hotel chains often arrive into emerging markets like Africa with advantage of scale, advantage of capital, and a great backup of a global system. Would you agree? And if you do, what have global brands often underestimated when entering the African market?
Yes. I think first thing, importantly, the global brands bring in brand standards. They create employment, which this region needs very badly. And they bring also intense competition. Now, I always believe that competition is healthy in the sense that when you are successful, you become complacent after a certain while. You're thinking, I'm the best in the market, I'm doing very well. But by bringing competition on board, it also forces us to actually innovate. Now, I don't think global brands come here underestimating the Africa, but there's something about the developers, because global brands come in as operators. It is the developers of assets who invite local and international brands to run their assets. They are the ones who have to embed the philosophy of developing, bringing the art, the culture, the heritage, the rich tradition and history into the asset, so the operators could also market those richness. For us, I think Serena is a bit different. We are asset heavy in the sense that we build our own assets, we design our own assets, we embed the art and culture, everything into our own properties, and we manage them. But I think over time, we're now beginning to look at how we can actually evolve and do something more asset light and take more on management contracts from that point of view.
Thank you. Looking ahead into the next 20 years,
Yes.
what must we rethink when we talk about design, finance, and operating hotels in remote areas, and for these models to be sustainable?
Yes. As a CEO, when I sit in my strategy session and looking 20 years ahead, I ask myself only one question: who is going to be my customer? Now, it should not shock anyone here that the Africa population is 1.4 billion. Same, India is close to 1.4 billion, so is China. Now, the difference here is the 70% of Africa population, or 1 billion, are under 30. They're going to be my future customers and clients. So how do I change from being a traditional heritage, cultural heritage, to try and meet this new generation? Because that is going to be the real challenge. We are thinking about it, we are researching, we are looking for ways to make an impact.
Thank you. Thank you for your insights. I think what stands out for me from this conversation is that the resilience in Africa hospitality, from the case of Serena, was never accidental. It was intentional in their planning from the beginning. And if we should take away one thing from this conversation, whether you are an investor, a developer, policymaker, or operator, is that the most resilient hospitality models of the future will not be replicated or imported. They will be grown.
Sure.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. A round of applause,
May I
please,
have
for everybody.
just 1 minute to finish, please?
Yeah.
We've run out of time. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, and we need to make way for the next panel.
I think there's a message that I was going to give as a closing session, if I may. But if you say fine.
You've started.
Sure.
It's okay.
I think us as developers or operators, we must pay attention to sustainability. And Africa's future hospitality depends on a regenerative model more than sustainability. And by that I mean we have to create positive impact, not just create less harm, but to sustainability, but positive impact through all over the whole area. And I think this is very critical, and this is where we will make a difference as a region. Thank you very much. Apologies for that.
Perfect, that's fine.
Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you so much.